There's $1.7 billion of construction underway in Charlotte Center City. The city core is the 5th busiest in the country for office construction. With that kind of workload, it's more important than ever to have the workers trained to build those buildings, especially in using heavy equipment. There are just 2 schools in the entire state where that kind of training takes place. Carolina Impact's Jason Terzes has more in tonight's American Graduate Getting to Work series.
Hey!
What do you got, Jack?
I got all the kinds of trucks.
It's something just about every boy and girl likely played with at one time.
All right, I see a dump truck, a cement mixer, a front loader, and
Excavator.
an excavator.
Whether it was the small ones or the full-size models, kids have been having fun with toy trucks for generations.
How do you steer this thing?
But not enough of those kids are growing up to do the real thing, operate real-life earth-moving equipment.
You know, we call them big boy toys, but it's really serious when it comes down to it.
Stanley Community College in Albemarle is one of just 2 colleges in North Carolina that houses a heavy equipment operations program.
It's a great program. I love it.
And the only one that has an on-campus site for students to train on real full-sized equipment.
We actually get to run real machines, real dozers, backhoes, and excavators. Being able to have the natural resources and the space, the 18 acres dedicated on campus to students actually moving dirt on live equipment really is something special.
Watching these guys work, you might be thinking, I could do that, looks pretty simple. Turns out safely operating an excavator, bulldozer, or any other big piece of machinery is more complicated than it looks.
You just think about when you pick something up off a plate with your hand, you know, you got your wrist, you got your fingers, you got your elbow, you got your shoulder. All of those have to work together to accomplish anything. It's the same way with when you get on one of these machines. And so you have to be able to do all of that at the same time.
Stanley's program launched 10 years ago, first as a continuing education course, then 4 years later, evolving into a full diploma program.
What I really appreciate about that program is it's a one-year program, so it's easy for students to get in, spend a year, get out, and be able to really earn that wage.
If they do the whole diploma, they get the diploma, and then we also do the Heavy Equipment Operations Level 1 and Level 2 certification through the NCCER, which is the National Center for Construction Education and Research.
The worksite space on campus is critical in students' development, but perhaps just as important is what's inside class: simulators. The simulators allow students to do everything they would on the real machines, from the seat belt to the systems checks to the hand controls and foot pedals. They're all identical to the real thing.
They get on that simulator, and usually within a matter of minutes, they're like, wow, this is a whole lot harder than what I thought it was.
If you can imagine putting someone who may have never even driven a lawnmower before on a piece of equipment, it's a whole lot easier to put them on a simulation, you know, before you put them on a real machine.
You do this first and then go to the machine, you feel more comfortable with it.
So using the simulations helps the students learn the basic operations and control of the machine in a safe, low-stress environment.
The simulators, though, don't come cheap.
Some of those are over $50,000.
Yep, 50 grand a pop. Then toss in another 20 grand for some to have motion-moving platforms, and you quickly realize how much Stanley is investing into the program.
We believe community colleges are part of our mission is to help educate a skilled workforce, and we are an important element in workforce development. So we've got to invest in the equipment so that students are able to compete.
Entry-level pay for this type of work depends on the specifics, but it's generally right around $13 to $15 an hour.
Usually if you're working for a local government or state, it'll be a lower salary range, but typically the benefits are, you know, better. If you go to work for a general contractor, typically that's higher entry level.
Median pay for heavy equipment jobs nationwide is just under $20 an hour, or roughly $44,000 annually. Experience, overtime, the company, and the job itself are all variables in the hourly pay.
As far as maxing out, usually it's compared to a heavy diesel mechanic, if you will. If you have a skilled operator working for a general contractor, I've seen him make 23, 25.
Darren Pressler heads the City of Albemarle's Solid Waste Facility and Recycling Center. He's already hired 2 of Stanley's graduates and is about to go back for more.
We have 13 positions. Currently, I have 10 employees, so Josh is getting ready to get a phone call from me.
It's good to hear stories and hear from companies when they call me up and say, hey, we're looking for somebody, and and by the way, so-and-so's doing great.
With the building boom happening just down the road in Charlotte, more heavy equipment operators were already needed. Then toss in an aging workforce nationally, and there's about to be a major shortage in the industry.
And so you're not only adding more jobs, you're also going to have to, these companies are worried about how are they going to replace the folks who are retiring over the next 10 years.
You have a population of workers who are approaching retirement age. And then there's a huge gap, a 20 to 30 year gap between that population and the population of employees who are just now trying to get into the field.
In fact, Stanley's program has had some difficulty getting students to complete the program because employers are recruiting students for open jobs. But I suppose that's a good problem to have. For Carolina Impact, I'm Jason Terzis reporting.
Thanks so much, Jason. For the 10-year period from 2016 through 2026, heavy equipment operations jobs are expected to grow 12% nationally. That's faster than most occupations. Which jobs in heavy machinery pay the most? Well, according to Payscale.com, tower crane operators' median salary is more than $107,000.